Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always up for a good history lesson, especially when it involves football.
Well, today we're going back to 1986, to a moment that I think really changed things in the World Cup. Forever, actually.
Well, 1986. Now, that's a World Cup I remember vividly. Maradona, the Azteca Stadium. Mexico was electric that year.
Yeah, Mexico was amazing, but we're not focusing on Maradona this time. We're talking about Morocco.
Morocco. Ah, yes. Their incredible run. The first African team to make it to the knockout stages.
Exactly. They weren't just there to participate, they were there to compete. And they took on some of the biggest names in football along the way.
I mean, just to get out of their group, they had to face England, Portugal, and Poland. That's a tough group for anyone, let alone a team making their, I think it was their second World Cup appearance.
Second, yep. And a lot of people probably underestimated them, right? But they had a secret weapon, their coach, José Faria.
José Faria, the Brazilian mastermind. He knew how to get the best out of that Moroccan squad. They were incredibly well-organized, disciplined, and they had this incredible defensive strategy that caught a lot of teams off guard.
Yeah, their first two matches ended in 0-0 draws.
Yeah.
England, Poland, both held scoreless by Morocco. Do you remember watching those games? What was the reaction like?
I was glued to the TV. The commentators were stunned. No one expected Morocco to hold those European powerhouses to draws. People started talking about giant killers and the surprise package of the tournament.
I bet there were a lot of people thinking those draws were just flukes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But then, on June 11th, Morocco played Portugal. And that's when everyone realized this team was the real deal.
That match, Morocco versus Portugal, it was a game changer, right?
It was a statement. They didn't just beat Portugal, they dismantled them. 3-1. It was phenomenal. And I think that was the moment when the world really started to take notice of African football.
3 goals, I have to ask. Who were the heroes of that day for Morocco?
Well, Zaki, he was the star. He scored 2 fantastic goals.
Valeri, the man of the match.
Absolutely. But you can't forget Kamau. He scored the 3rd goal. And their goalkeeper, Badou Zaki, he was like a wall. He made some incredible saves that day. Just unbelievable.
Zaki, he was something else. I read somewhere that he won African Footballer of the Year in 1986. Is that right?
You're absolutely right. He was incredible. Agile, fearless, and commanded his area like a true leader. In fact, he captained the Moroccan side. A true inspiration for aspiring goalkeepers across Africa.
What a story. So they topped their group against all odds.
Right. First African team to ever do that. And that meant they were moving on to the round of 16 to face, well, let's just say their next opponent was even tougher.
They were about to face a giant of world football, West Germany.
A footballing powerhouse.
Exactly. Talk about a David versus Goliath situation.
I mean, West Germany had a squad packed with legends.
Lothar Matthäus, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, just to name a few. How on earth did Morocco even begin to prepare for that?
Well, they stuck with what had gotten them that far.
You mean their incredible defense?
Exactly. Faria knew they couldn't go toe-to-toe with West Germany's attack.
Right, that would be suicide.
So they focused on staying organized, disciplined, and then when the opportunity arose, they hit back with these quick counterattacks.
So using their speed to catch the Germans off guard.
Exactly. And they had some really talented players who could make those counterattacks dangerous. Mohamed Timoumi, for example.
Oh, Timoumi. What a player. I've heard stories about his amazing skills, controlling the midfield, creating chances out of nothing.
He was like a magician with the ball. So elegant, so skillful. And alongside players like Abdelmajid Dolmy and Krimau, they formed a really potent attacking force.
So the stage was set. June 17th, 1986. Morocco versus West Germany. The whole world was watching, waiting to see if Morocco could pull off another miracle. What was the atmosphere like during that match?
Electric. The tension was incredible. The Moroccans, they came out fighting, and for a while it looked like they might just do the unthinkable.
They held their own against West Germany. For how long?
For almost the entire match. They defended heroically.
I bet that was nerve-wracking. Every minute must have felt like an hour.
It was. But then, heartbreak. In the 88th minute.
Oh, no. So close to the end.
I know. Lothar Matthäus, he scored a free kick.
Yeah.
And that was it. 1-0 to West Germany.
So near yet so far. I can only imagine the disappointment.
Devastating for the players, for the fans. But even in defeat, they had made history.
They'd proven that an African team could compete at the highest level.
Absolutely. And that's something that should never be forgotten. They changed the way people viewed African football. forever.
It wasn't just about the wins. It was about challenging perceptions, right?
It absolutely was, and it inspired a whole generation of young African players.
And that's something we'll talk about more after the break. It really did change things, didn't it? And it's not just about football, is it?
No, not at all.
Sports, in general, I think they have this power to sort of break down barriers, bring people together.
Oh, absolutely. It's a universal language. Doesn't matter where you're from, what language you speak. If you love the game...
You can connect with anyone.
Exactly.
And when you see these underdog stories...
Oh, yeah.
Like Morocco in '86, it gives you hope, doesn't it?
It does. It shows you that anything is possible.
Like the Jamaican bobsled team in '88.
Oh, yeah, classic.
No one thought they'd even qualify, let alone, actually compete.
But they did it.
They did. And they won hearts all over the world.
It's the spirit, right? The determination.
And that's what makes these stories so compelling.
We all love to root for the underdog.
It's true. It's like we're wired that way.
Because deep down, we all want to believe that anything is possible.
That even against all odds,
yeah,
you can achieve something great.
Right. It's not always about winning either.
It's about the journey.
The effort.
The heart.
The belief in yourself, even when no one else does.
Exactly. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Morocco's '86 World Cup journey, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from this?
I think it's the idea that sometimes the biggest victories aren't the ones on the scoreboard.
It's about the impact you have.
The legacy you leave behind.
Morocco may not have won the World Cup that year.
But they won something far more important, I think.
They changed the game.
They inspired a generation.
And they showed the world that African football is a force to be reckoned with.
And that's a victory worth celebrating.
Absolutely. And hey, to all our listeners out there, maybe this story inspires you to go after your own, quote-unquote, underdog goals.
Yeah.
Whatever those may be.
Don't be afraid to dream big.
Because you never know what you might achieve.
And you might just inspire others along the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive, everyone. Until next time.